below 2,000, baby. Eden Palms, Monterey Road, I'm a project baby. Eagles Drive, we was at Oak Grove, barely graduated. We got Tasha, Molly, Bodie, Corbett, they gon' have to hate us.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the New Media Podcast. I'm your host, We hope you enjoyed the last episode because, as always, today's going to be an even better episode. I got the whole crew with me. Everybody's in the house today, and Week 9 just got wrapped up, so it's only right that we talk about it. Before we jump into Week 9 and us giving our recap, temperature check. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling?
There's too much sports to consume from today and start week. Too much, man.
He doesn't want to speak about the Packers, but
yeah, let's talk about the NBA, bro. I think we should talk about the NBA. That's a better option.
Nah.
We definitely.
I mean, we can talk about the NBA. You know, Josh Hart hitting the game winner and everything today, but
yeah, that's better than what the Packers are doing. So.
Well, then let's go ahead and jump right into it. We'll talk about the very first game that kicked off Week 9 for us. The Eagles going to Houston and win 29-17. This game was a lot closer than people anticipated. Texans covered the spread.
I mean, for a portion of this game, it felt like the Texans had control and then kind of just slipped away from them, and the Eagles just took over. Like, I know the score looks fairly closer than we were expecting, but the Eagles maintained control in the second half, especially, and I feel like they're a lot more dominant in the second half. So nothing really to write home about this. They did exactly what they needed to. That touchdown by A.J. Brown was nice, and of course Dallas Goedert, getting him involved is a priority, and this team is just firing on all cylinders. I know first half there were some scares, but they did what they needed to. And the issue, I think the weakness right now with this Eagles team, is their run defense without Jordan Davis. If he's not out there, then it's an issue because their run defense really struggles. But once they get him back, they're going to be looking really good. So.
Yeah, good one for the Eagles. First half, extremely close between the Texans and the Eagles. David Mills was, playing good the first half. Dameon Pierce was getting his touches and everything. But Eagles controlled most of the second half. Played phenomenally well the second half. Offensively, they played great. Defensively, they played great in the second half. So not much of a scare. Some people are going to say, hey, it's the Texans. They didn't blow them out much, but they went through the game, came out with the W, and their offense played great. So nothing to write about. I think they were 8-0. It says a lot.
Sitting at 8-0 right now.
Oh.
Yeah. This game wasn't really the most interesting game. The Texans did have some flashes, but there was never a moment where I sat there and I said to myself that the Texans were going to actually win this game. So Eagles came in and did what they were supposed to do. And now they're sitting here at 8-0 going into Week 10. We'll go ahead and talk about the next game. The Los Angeles Chargers going to Atlanta and get the win 20-17, a very close one.
I feel like at multiple points in this season, like the Chargers go down, then they come back. I don't know how sustainable that is, but I mean, if that Falcons lineman, he saw glory, man. He saw the fumble, he picked it up. He thought he saw glory, man. He dropped it. It's tough. The kicker just sent it home. So, I mean, for the Chargers to again be in another close game, it's just not a good sign. But again, they'll take what they can get. I feel like Justin Herbert really clutched up towards the end of the game, so I got to give him credit for that. But this Chargers team really needs to. I want to see a game from them where they dominate from start to finish, and I feel like we haven't seen that yet, and we're looking towards it. So.
Yeah, that D lineman, man, that was game for Atlanta. They could have walked off on the game there and then, but he got too happy and just let the ball go. So, but the Chargers, to me, I mean, offensively, it didn't look too well for them. They're still missing a lot of key offensive players: Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Donald Parham. They're missing a lot of big pieces on the offensive side. So to see them grind out this W, Herbert had a good second half. Wasn't too good of a game, but I don't know. I mean, if it keeps happening like this and they play with a lot of injured players on the roster, I don't see them doing a lot of noise. So if they can get healthy, they can make some noise. But at this point right now, it's frigid.
I mean, I really thought the Falcons were going to come in here and get this win. That's why I picked them to come in here and win this week. But they started off hot, and they caught the Chargers lacking a little bit. I did say that the Chargers were going to come out sluggish coming off the bye week, but this Falcons team, they just didn't capitalize on the opportunity, even though Cordell Patterson looked great in his first game back coming off IR. But this defense is still a problem. Joshua Palmer, 106 yards. 8 catches. Austin Eckler had 2 touchdowns, I believe, or 1 touchdown. One touchdown or two touchdowns? Two touchdowns, one rushing and one receiving. Justin Herbert didn't play the greatest games, but at the same time, I can't be too critical about that simply because he doesn't have his receivers right now. But this is overall a good one for the Chargers, a step in the right direction. But Abdi does make a very good point. I really want to see this team dominate from start to finish. The next game we were talking about, the Miami Dolphins go into Chicago and win in pretty much a no-biter, 35-32.
Justin Fields, man. Justin Fields, man. This guy, like, this, like, if we want to look back, like, from this point forward, the Justin Fields game that got him really, like, on track, this was the game, because 178 rushing yards, the most in a game since, like, I have no
Michael
idea.
Vick.
That's crazy. And you would think it would be a guy like Lamar Jackson, but Justin Fields, I think he's also on 10th in the league in rushing yards. Everybody else is a running back around him, so that's ridiculous. The guy has just been playing great. Like, he put this team on his back, making amazing throws. Like, the Chicago Bears finally realized how to utilize this guy, get him to roll out a lot of run pass options. Darnell Mooney got a touchdown, which is a good thing for them. And Claypool got involved here and there. So I like what I saw from this team. Like, I feel like now they have a direction that they wanted to head towards. So I got to give credit to Justin Fields. Tua, I mean, he had his throws. I'll give him credit for that. He had his throws, but he had a lot of underthrows. And there's about 2 or 3 of them, and they're critical ones. I don't care what anyone says. There's a Jalen Waddle one, and then there's the one on the 4th down. I'm not gonna let that slide. There's no way I'm gonna let that slide.
That's because you like to nitpick Tua's. Anything Tua does, you'll nitpick at it. That's why.
No, the thing is, though, these are like critical throws. If the Bears would have won this game, what would you have been sitting here saying?
It's not on Tua. It's on that.
I would have said that's Tua for underthrowing some of these passes. So of course, these wide receivers are going to create miles of separation. So it's really not that hard for Tua to find them. But good one for the Dolphins, and they keep moving forward, man.
Gotta give my flowers to Justin Fields, man. He's been balling the last 4.5, 5 weeks, cooking up. They could have won this game, man, but it was tough for them, But to speak on Miami, I felt like Tua had a great game. Jeff Wilson, first week on the team, he had another great game, same as Chubb, played fantastic. But this guy, Tyreek Hill, looking like the best receiver in the league right now. He's still on pace to break that Calvin Johnson record. Another 7 catch, 143 yards in the touchdown. Waddle, 85 yards in the touchdown. So those two guys, as long as they're playmaking and getting the ball in their hands, they're going to cook up. And after you mentioned Tua missing a couple critical passes here and there, I mean, yeah, two of them are bad, but
that's who he is, though. Like some of these quarterbacks, if they're gonna,
you nitpick 2 out of the 3 out of his 30 passes.
No, the thing is though, like quarterbacks, for example, if a guy like Tom Brady were to underthrow a pass, we'd be like, oh, that's a bad throw by Tom Brady. We're not gonna be like, that's who Tom Brady is. But I know Tua does not have arm strength like that. This is who he is as a thrower. He's not.
Tua has the arm strength.
No, he does not. No, he does not. How many times have we seen him underthrow Tyreek Hill? Like, Tyreek Hill should be on way more touchdowns if this guy can just throw it over his head. But obviously he can. But he'll take the miles of separation that he gets. So.
I don't know, man. He's been playing pretty consistent for this team. Been hitting his targets. Another 21 out of 30, 300-yard, 3-touchdown game. So they're sitting at 6-3. Could have been at a better record with him healthy. And he's so far undefeated with the Dolphins right now this year. So got to pay some respect. They're balling. Great win for Miami.
The Chicago Bears, man. This is one team, not necessarily this season, but moving forward, kind of scares me simply because of the cap space that they have this upcoming offseason, alongside the development of Justin Fields. They're going to get this guy some talent around him. They're going to draft better. Their GM, Ryan Poles, he's a good GM. These guys are taking a step in the right direction. Each and every week, Justin Fields has been getting better and better, and they're trying to unlock a different version of him and trying to, they're just really developing him right now. They just really need to surround him with some talent, and this team can be really, really scary in a few years when they spend all that money that they got alongside the Detroit Lions. So, Bears, even though right now they're struggling, the future's pretty bright for them. But this Miami Dolphins team, they came in here and they did what they were supposed to do, especially Tua offensively. This defense didn't really do much to really help them. It was pretty much an offensive outing for them. Tua, 21 for 30, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, another great day, 7 catches, 143 yards and a touchdown. Waddle, what did he finish with? 5 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown. Like, out of the 21 passes that Tua completed, Abdi will go on Twitter. He's gonna find 2 clips where he underthrew a couple guys, and he's gonna talk about it on Monday. Like,
Because that's who Tua is. That's why.
This is just rinse and repeat. But every other pass, every other play that he makes is not talked about. But just those 2 highlights that you see on Twitter. Like, come on, man.
But I'm sorry. His wide receivers create 1,000 yards of separation, and all he's doing is just finding them wide open in the middle of the field.
Hey,
like, I'm really sorry about that.
Before during the offseason, in our predictions in the preseason, you were like, man, he's not going to be able to get these guys the ball. And now you're saying, okay, these guys are getting all the separation.
I mean,
you
not that
you can't miss them.
They create the most yard separation in the league. Like, come on, bro. It's really not that hard.
Tua was doing his job, man. And the Miami Dolphins, he's undefeated as their starting quarterback right now, sitting at 6-3. They're fighting for a wild card spot, right above the Chargers at number 2. So this is overall a very, very good one for the Dolphins. But overall, their defense needs to be better. They can't allow 32 points in a game like that from Justin Fields. Justin Fields played great. No disrespect to him, but their run defense was terrible, and Justin Fields didn't really kill him in the air. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game, the Carolina Panthers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals win this one 42-21. Get right week. Joe Mixon 5 tugs. Man, fantasy owners are very, very excited.
Good God, this domination. Nobody I think right now Joe Mixon's the RB2 in fantasy. That's how much of a dominant performance that he had. I mean, this was a get right week, as right as it gets. Nothing to write home about that. Like, this is exactly how teams should. Of course, obviously not putting up 45 points, but they should be dominating the Panthers, who are now looking to win, and this is exactly what the Bengals did. So it's a good win for them.
Yeah, great one for the Bengals. Joe Mixon, man, that guy just went crazy. 4 touchdowns in the first half. It was just give him the ball, let him cook, receiving, running. I think he ended the game 222 yards total, 5 touchdowns. It's just wild. And this what teams, like Abdi said, not 45 points, but they should get their ones in with the Panthers, and then, get right, get this consistency, get used to playing with each other, and just come in and beat them. And that's what happened.
I gotta say, man, we were all wrong this week when we all picked the Bengals, but at the same time we said they weren't going to cover this -7 spread. So
I said that I thought I picked the spread. Nah.
No, we all said they're not covering the spread.
Yeah, we're kind of messed up right there.
Yeah, but
we are.
This was pretty much a get right week for the Cincinnati Bengals heading into a bye week next week. Jamar Chase won't be ready to go after the bye, but still, T. Higgins 7 catches, 60 yards, and Joe Mixon had one hell of a day. So at the end of the day, you get a win. You're sitting here at 5-4. They're gonna go into the bye week, get healthy, and try to figure this thing out, because that division is still very, very close. Although the Ravens did get a win tonight, we'll definitely talk about them in a little bit. Sitting at 6-3, they need to figure out how they're going to string along some wins in order to clinch a playoff spot. But overall, good win for the Bengals. We'll go ahead and get into this game. The Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, I guess we're calling it an upset. Upset the Green Bay Packers 15-9. The Lions did cover this +3.5 spread.
Were they favorites? Just out of curiosity, was it Green Bay, right?
Green Bay was favorites -3.5.
That's crazy. Damn. But Aaron Rodgers was not good this game. Not good. He was terrible this game. He was awful this game. 2 red zone picks. The second one was just like this. The second one was just hilarious. That was probably the funniest red zone pick I've seen, man. The guy we're throwing it to 300-pound David Bakhtiari on. Like, what is that? Like, why is he throwing it there? Like, if I'm Aaron Jones right now, I'm red hot. Like, me and Aaron Rodgers are beefing if I'm Aaron Jones. I don't understand why Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, like, what is going on with this Aaron Jones beef? Like, why doesn't Aaron Jones touch the ball enough? Like, we've been begging as Packers fans for Aaron Jones to get involved in this game. This game would have been so winnable if literally Aaron Jones touched the ball. Like, if Aaron Jones touched the ball, the Packers win this game. But nope, that doesn't happen. Aaron Rodgers throws 3 picks. Like, I don't know, man. This team right now, like, we might not win another game this season at this rate. You know how we were describing the Chicago Bears coming into the season? That's how we might be talking about the Packers from now on. And now we picked up an injury with Rashawn Gary. Eric Stokes is hurt. Romeo Doubs was carted off. All 3 of them are in boots, by the way. So, I mean, this season might be done. And the NFL really needs to fix this turf issue. I'm tired of turfs, man. Turfs, if you guys see the clip of Rashawn Gary, he tried to step, and this guy literally, his knee shook. So, of course, like, everything went wrong in that game. We lost and we picked up 3 injuries, so stuff.
Aaron Rodgers is just trash. I ain't gonna lie, he just trash. He puts the blame on everybody else. He says, hey, "I got to simplify the offense." Matt LaFleur has to simplify it, but like, what more can you simplify? Like, you can make the adjustment by yourself on the field, and he still doesn't do that. And him coming in twice in the end zone, throwing a pick, and then having a third interception, it's embarrassing. And then not involving Aaron Jones again for another week is just. It makes no sense to me that you have a premier, one of the best running backs in the league, and you don't use him at all. And it's crazy like that. And you use AJ Dillon. It's a guy that his burst speed is at
Bro, what was I telling people about AJ Dillon from the
at
start of the
55. You
season?
know,
This
like,
guy is not like, bro, like cute. Like it's nice and all. He has big quads, bro, but he's slow and he's fat. Like I'm being honest here. Like he's not like no, bro. I'm tired of
there's
this
no
AJ Dillon
explosiveness,
stuff.
there's
Like
no
Aaron
speed,
Jones, if
nothing.
you watch him and you watch AJ Dillon, it's night and day with how they run. Aaron Jones is gonna pick up 7 yards every time. Like that's how amazing he is. And like the guy scored 19 touchdowns in 2019. This guy's as good as it gets in the red zone, and we don't give him the ball. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I feel like your defense held their own yesterday. I mean, giving up 15 points the full game, and then your offense couldn't muster up anything. It's pretty bad.
I got my Jair pick. I left for some.
You left with some. You left with some, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Bad season for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, man. Time to pack it up, man. I know you got a lot of money on the line, but it's bad. So, what you think?
I mean, I can't. This
You
is
got
this is pretty much getting old for me. This is what the 4th week in a row. I'm coming on here talking about the Packers and their struggles. But I'll go ahead and start this off by saying this: I will no longer pick the Packers for the rest of the season. I haven't looked at their schedule. They could be playing the Houston Texans. I am taking this Texans and I'm taking their spread
I
and
believe
money
we play the
line.
Cowboys next, by the way.
Doesn't matter who you guys play. I will no longer pick this team. I'll just watch you guys suffer, and I'll also earn a point on Sunday. This team is just flat out embarrassing. You guys just come into the arena and let people walk all over you. You guys have no heart, no desire to win. Aaron Rodgers, he can yell after drop passes and stuff like that. And then there was a clip where he was calling in the little phone booth on the sideline, and he was upset, so he kind of punched the phone to hang it up and stuff like that. Like, that's cool, bro. Like, go make a play on the field. Go try to score some touchdowns. Like, you're over here throwing a fadeaway, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant fadeaway at the end zone to David Bakhtiari, who played 5 games in 2 years. Like, this team is just not real. I got nothing left to say. I'm just beating on a dead body at this point. I love every second of this. They're sitting at 3-6, and they might not see another win in like the next 3 or 4 weeks. So you can pretty much just crown us the NFC North champions. We're over here sitting here at 7-1. There's no team is gonna come close to us. So I love this, but the Lions at the same time didn't necessarily play a great game. Their defense did step up a lot more this game by holding the Packers to 9 points. Not necessarily the greatest offensive team in the league right now, but the Lions struggled defensively a lot. So for them to only hold the team to less than 10 points, it's a W on their part. Aiden Hutchinson had a pick himself, I believe. Jared Goff didn't really play his best game. Well, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. It's just mid. So a good one for the Lions and the Packers. Let me see. I want to see the rest of their schedule. 1 second before we move on.
I'm pretty sure we play like the Eagles and the Cowboys and Eagles. Check that for me.
Yeah, Dallas, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Chicago, bye week, Rams, Miami, Minnesota, Detroit. I can't see another one. Maybe potentially Chicago, but even then, I'm not gonna go ahead and write that win for you guys.
Rodgers cooks up against Chicago. He has some type of stuff against him.
Nah,
No, with the way Justin Fields is playing,
Justin Fields is gonna run all over them, and I'm
different story now. Different story now.
Yeah, this team's just not it. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Indianapolis Colts lose to the New England Patriots 26-3. I don't know how Bill Belichick is doing it, but he has an above 500 record 9 weeks into the season.
What's the record?
5-4.
Man, he's cooking on low heat, man. He strings together some stuff. This is a good win, man. Because like it felt like early on in the season that it was gonna be a lost year for the Patriots, and now they're starting to string wins together. Of course, their defense is just playing like I remember they shut out the Lions, if I'm correct.
They
I
did.
believe so. They shut them
Yes.
out, right? And they held this next team to 3 point. Like they're doing something, man. Like Bill Belichick, if there's something he'll never lose is that defensive IQ. The guy's just absolute genius. So it's a good one for the Patriots, and they're starting to put stuff together. This team just won't go away, man. And with that Josh Allen injury news, I mean, a lot of things can change. So
Good one for the Patriots, man. They came in, they played fantastic defense. They shut the Colts. They pretty much shut them down. And offense, you know how it is. Give Ramondre Stevenson the ball, let Mac Jones be a game manager, and they won like that. So good one for Belichick. The game plan was to come in, put pressure on Sam Ellinger, and they did that. So good one.
Yeah, I mean they got 9 sacks on them. The Colts, actually, speaking about them, they did just fire their head coach today, Frank Reich, I believe, and they promoted Jeff Saturday, who was surprisingly shocked at the promotion, which
Hey,
is very, very crazy when you look
Jeff
back
Saturday
on it.
already coached high school football before this. You know that, right? Only
Yeah,
high
I
school
did hear
football on
about
the
that.
resume.
Yeah,
Nothing else, and he got promoted. I don't know. Something's up.
I mean, I don't know, man. The Colts, their direction right now is, I don't know where they're headed. They benched Matt Ryan for this guy, and it was a cute little project for a couple of weeks, but at the same time, it's not getting them any wins, and their division is a little bit wide open. I think it's just them and the Titans, so they're not gonna, with this guy at quarterback, they don't have a chance. I think Matt Ryan gives them a slightly better chance, but man, my prediction about this Patriots team, I thought Bill Belichick was gonna, ride off into the sunset, retiring with the record below 500, which he still could do. But right now, 9 weeks into the year, they're sitting here at 5-4. Their defense is playing tremendously great. Mac Jones did his thing, just solid game, 247 yards, 1 touchdown. Didn't do too much. Didn't have to do too much. So it's a good one for the Patriots. Let's go ahead and talk about this game. My Minnesota Vikings going to Washington and get this win, 20-17. I'm very frustrated about this game, bro. I can't lie.
I want you to kick us off on this. Actually, I'm curious.
To start things off,
Yeah.
to start things off, I believe the NFL should start up an investigation on that referee, that back judge, that decided to get in
That's
the
the
way.
funniest play. That's the funniest play I've seen, man.
Like it's not real because like that's like the prime example of somebody putting in a parlay on Sunday and trying to cash in. Like, come on now. Basically, so the play was like a deep play for not Scary Terry, but Curtis Samuel. It basically in triple coverage. At first, it was 2 defenders, and then our third DB, Cameron Bynum, was coming in from the left side of the field, and so the 2 guys were already clamping Curtis Samuel. Cameron Bynum was coming in. There's only supposed to be 2 outcomes in that situation, either an interception or a dropped interception, and basically the rest of the Commanders get away with another down or 2. But bro, the referee legit saw the ball in the air. He didn't go to the left, which was wide open. He looked right. He looked at Cameron Bynum right in the eye and didn't even try to move left or right. He ran straight into him, and it costed us a touchdown. So overall, outside of that play, they do need to investigate with that referee. I do got to find out what his name is. But this game wasn't really the prettiest game for the Minnesota Vikings. But we had a few bright spots. But from start to finish, we started off, of course, our first drive, our first 7, 8, 9 plays, ended off in a touchdown for Justin Jefferson. Of course, he finally got back in the end zone since week 1. But after that, we slowed down. Way too many 3-and-outs. Our offensive line couldn't hold up. The Washington Commanders kept bringing the pressure to Kirk Cousins. And for some reason, our run game just couldn't get going today. And our defense was low-key kind of selling in the beginning. And then we kind of picked it up from time to time. It was like a defensive battle for the majority of the game. But after that Curtis Samuel touchdown, the game kind of shifted. For a minute there, the Washington Commanders had the momentum. They had the game in their hands. But Taylor Heineke gifted us the interception to Harrison Smith. That's his 3rd interception in a row in the last 3 games. And Kirk Cousins, man, at 10 o'clock, he is like one of the best quarterbacks in this league. And I didn't even realize this because I was so focused in our preview episode last week on us playing on the road that I didn't even realize that it was a homecoming game for Kirk Cousins. It was like a revenge game. I forgot he was coming back to Washington, somewhere he was very familiar with. So for him to come in there and lead us to a win, he got knocked out for a play and came back in and delivered a touchdown to Dalvin Cook. It was a sight to see. But sitting here at 7-1, I really can't complain too much. I can't say too much about our special teams because Greg Joseph didn't miss the kick yesterday. So
It was a sneaky like it wasn't those we weren't expecting this. Like obviously we didn't come in thinking the Vikings were just gonna like destroy the Commanders, but at the same time we felt like supposed to be like a comfortable win. But like yeah, I guess like, you can write this off as like one of those games where like you're not gonna always dominate every single game that you play, but at the same time, Dalvin Cook cannot get going. Justin Jefferson, it felt like yeah, like if it wasn't until that big catch because I think he had like 40, 50 yards in the first half and then a touchdown as well. And then he kind of went silent and then he had the big catch. But of course, another like 115 and a touchdown is just the yard is just routine for him, but it's good for him to get in the end zone as well. At the same time, I felt like the Commanders could have had a chance at winning this game. But of course, Taylor Heineke gifted you guys that interception, and it's a good win for the Vikings in the sense of like it's just one of those games that happens. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game for them, but they got the W. Big addition with Hawkinson, man. I feel like you guys were not going to involve him much in the game, but he came in with 9 catches, 70 yards, and I feel like that's going to be a big addition down the road. But I expected the Commanders to put up a fight, so they put up a fight. But Kirk, last 3 drives, 13 straight points, clutched it up. So good one for them. I think they needed to get this out the system. They got the Bills next week, so I feel like it's good to get this out the system and get back on road next week.
I mean, I can't lie. I'm already in love with T.J. Hawkinson because what do you finish with 7 catches, 90 some yards?
90, no, it was 9 catches, 70 yards.
9 catches, 70 yards. 5 of those catches they turned into first downs for us. So like this guy's going to be a huge part of our offense. And going back to what I was going to say, but what was I going to say? Oh, basically in our preview episode, I did mention that I didn't want us to look past this game simply because we had the Buffalo Bills, and I feel like that's exactly what we did against the Washington Commanders. We just kind of looked past them, we underestimated them, and they're a good team. I'll give them credit. They're not a bad team. They're sitting here right now at 4-5, I believe. Taylor Heineke, he's a lot better than Carson Wentz, and I just had a feeling we were gonna come in here and underestimate them, and they gave us their best shot, but it just wasn't good enough. So, the Vikings sitting here at 7-1, I can cut in the second best record in all of football right now after the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't say I'm surprised because this is kind of what I expected in my preseason prediction. So a big game against Buffalo next week. We don't know the status of Josh Allen, but speaking of Josh Allen, the Jets get the win at home against the Buffalo Bills, 20-17. Don't say I didn't tell you guys it was going to be a trap game, though.
Can we go ahead and say the Jets are the best defense in the NFL? I think you can argue that.
I mean,
one of the best,
debate, man.
Sure, one of the best.
To me, in my opinion, that's the best defense in this league, man. They had Josh Allen in hell, man. 2 turnovers on him, I believe, right? Like
2 interceptions and a fumble, I believe, a couple of fumbles.
See what I mean? Like this defense is just crazy, man. And for them, like I felt like when they lost Breece Hall, like a lot of their season was gonna go downhill because like losing a guy like that who was just carrying the running game was going to be a big loss, but their defense just stepped up big time, man. And of course, Zach Wilson under 200 yards. I mean, that like if you're a better man, just go ahead with Zach Wilson under 200 yards. It's going to happen every time. This guy's not good at the sport. I told you all this, but it's like this is a big win for the Jets, not just in the sense of the divisional rival, because I feel like a lot of people in the back of people's mind, they were thinking this team's like frauds. But after this game against Josh Allen was the MVP favorite, absolute dominant. So it's a good win for them. And I mean, that injury for Josh Allen is scary. Like, he's very scary because a lot can change in that division, especially with the Dolphins in there. And Belichick is lurking around and the Jets are still there. It's crazy.
Great one for the Jets, man. That defense had Josh Allen in clamps. It was 4 turnovers in total, man. They were all over him. Sauce was everywhere. They played fantastic. You gotta give some praise to Robert Saleh. He's coming out of nowhere. He's got these young guys going to work offensively. They did okay offensively. What's his face? James Robinson had a receiving touchdown, if I'm correct, and then Michael Carter had a rushing touchdown, like 80 yards rushing. So those 2 guys, they play good. Zach Wilson under 180. I mean, game managed the game. So it wasn't too bad of a game for him. But defensively, man, they clamped the guy that was number 1 in MVP standing in the ranking. So great win for the Jets and great win for Robert Saleh. Tough division they're in, very close with the damn Bills, Belichick, and the Dolphins. So who knows, man, what's going to happen in the future with the Josh Allen injury. We're just going to have to wait and see.
I mean, I told you guys I had a gut feeling that this game was for the Buffalo Bills is going to be a trap game. You know, week 9 they got to go on the road to New York. You know, and the Jets, they're not a team. They're not a team that's going to like just bend the knee and let you guys just run all over them. Like they're going to come in. They're going to come in there and fight. We're all familiar with Robert Saleh at some point. Seattle Seahawks when they play against the Niners. I'm just very, very familiar with him playing the Green Bay Packers, and I've ran into Robert Saleh a couple times with my Minnesota Vikings. So we all know what this guy brings on the defensive side when he's ahead, when he's coaching these guys up. So I wish I went with my gut feeling and picked the Jets, but at the same time, I really thought Josh Allen was going to do enough. And to be honest, he was just under duress the entire game, and now he's dealing with this elbow injury that might cost him a couple weeks. And I can no longer say he's the front runner for this MVP award. I honestly don't even know who would be the front runner right now. Maybe throwing a guy like just Jalen Hurts in there. Of course, Patrick Mahomes with the game he just had, not necessarily the greatest game, but at the same time, it was a better week than Josh Allen. And that's all it takes in the NFL. All it takes is 1 week for you to slip up and lose a game you're supposed to win and not play your best, and you can lose that award. Like Josh Allen said it best, you can't really win when your quarterback's playing like shit. So this is a very, very good one for the Jets. They're a team that's sitting at 6-3 right now. They're looking to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to end up making the playoffs this year. So I don't know who's going to get the boot right now. Who's on the outside looking in? The New England Patriots, the Cincinnati Bengals. That's pretty much it. So one of these teams are going to have to, not make the playoffs, and I honestly don't know who's going to hold the Jets spot, but the Jets are looking to make the playoffs this year. The next game I want to talk about, home at the Las Vegas Raiders blow another 17-point lead and lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20.
Bro, this team is just hilarious. The team is just jokes. Like how many times is this gonna it's already happened with the Cardinals, right? They had a close, like every game's just a close game and they just choke. It's crazy, man. Like this team, like Derek Carr, boo, you're gone. Like this is it. Like if you want to look back at a game where this should be the end of Derek Carr's tenure with the Las Vegas Raiders, this should be the game. For Davante Adams to have that monster stat line in the first half, and I believe he only maybe had 1 or 2 targets in the second half, barely got involved. Like come on, man. Like this is just getting ridiculous. This Raiders team, and I was defending their head coach last week. He's got to go too. Like everybody's got to go besides Davante and their pass catcher. That's it. Like everybody else, the head coach and Derek Carr, you're gone, man. Like for you to lose a game like this when you're desperately in need of winning and the Chargers just won and Mahomes just won too, crazy.
There's a reason I didn't pick the Raiders last week. I told you, you can give them a 25-point lead, 27, 20, whatever it is. They're going to choke that lead. And they did that again. They're up 17-0. They choked the lead. They let the Jags back in the game. And Derek Carr went ghost in the second half like he usually does. Derek Carr's not a quarterback to be in this league. I feel like he's down there with Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, those type of players, Jared Goff. People hype this guy up. He has a fat contract. It's time to cut him. Time to cut McDaniels. Jaguars, man. Travis Etienne, man. He's looking like one of the premier backs, after missing his rookie year. Last couple of games, he's just been turning up. Another phenomenal game by him. Christian Kirk was finally getting involved in the game again. I think he had 80 or 76 yards in the touchdown, and Lawrence didn't have too bad of a game either. So good one for the Jags and Raiders.
I can't lie. This team next year, when they get Calvin Ridley back, something is cooking, man.
It's gonna be something good. I'm not gonna lie to you. If Trevor Lawrence, can tune down the turnovers and make some smart choices, they're gonna have a nice roster with Kirk, Ridley, and Etienne. So good one for the Jags.
I mean, when this guy Trevor Lawrence, whenever nobody's watching him, this guy decides to be one of the best quarterbacks on Sunday.
He's hilarious, right?
It doesn't make any sense when nobody was watching that Raiders game. Unless you're watching Red Zone and you saw the highlights of Davante Adams scoring on early on, you were not tuning into that game. Trevor Lawrence had one hell of a game. He was dotting up. I saw this passing chart where he completed a lot of his passes. But this Raiders team, man, Derek Carr, his time is up. And I did say in our a couple episodes ago that this head coach has to go as well. What's his name? Josh McDaniels, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, his time there in Las Vegas is up, man. He's just right at this point. He's just there for the clubs and the nightlife and the party life because he's not there to coach this franchise. It doesn't make any sense. Like you have a 17-0 lead, not once, not twice, but 3 times in 3 separate games, and and you're in one of the toughest divisions where you have the Chiefs, you have the Chargers, and the Denver Broncos are right now they're sitting with a better record than you, and they're starting to figure things out. They're just coming off a bye week, but they just got to win in London against this Jags team. Like you're supposed to come in here and win this game if you're up 17. You have everything going for you, but at the end of the day, this team is just very, very disappointing. I wish you would have stood on your word. Abdi sitting here, the Raiders sitting here at 2-6, but at the same time, he did switch up on that. But the Jags is a very, very good win, and Trevor Lawrence, man, he had one hell of a game. But moving on to the next game, the Seattle Seahawks going to Arizona, season sweep. The Arizona Cardinals 31-21. Big H, you know what to do, man.
Talk to me, baby. 6-3. You see, man, again, you know what I'm saying? After the first touchdown, D-Hop had a nice little run, 20-something yards in the first drive. After that, our defense showed up and just clamped, like, from top to bottom. We were putting pressure on Murray. We were getting to him. We fumbled. I think we got a fumble on him. Lockdown D-Hop to 4 catches, 36 yards, only a touchdown. And our offense, man, Geno Smith had a pick, but after that pick, he turned up. And he found Lockett. He found DK. He was finding Noah Fant. And our rookie, Michigan State product, baby, MSU, Kenneth Walker. Another phenomenal game. I think it was, 114 and 2 tucks? Man, that guy just a bowling
114
ball.
Total.
He's just a bowling ball. It's tough.
Actually, it was 129 and two total touchdowns.
129
scrimmage yards.
Another phenomenal week by him. Another phenomenal week by the offense. And then we got to talk about Pete Carroll. He might be coach of the year the way we playing right now. It pans out towards the end of the season. We get 11 and 12 wins. I think he deserves his flowers what he's doing with this team. A bunch of young guys on the defense, and a bunch of vets on the offense, and some young guys on the offense, and it's meshing well for us. And Arizona, y'all already know my stance on Arizona. I don't think I ever picked them. And you like Kyler Murray, bro. It shows. It just really shows. Him having problems with Cliff, him having problems with DeAndre Hopkins on the sideline. I feel like he's the problem, and he's trying to blame the problems on everybody else. So it's a lot for the Arizona Cardinals right now, sitting at what, 3-7 or 3-6?
I believe they're sitting at 3-6.
3-6. So yeah, they're not playing too well. But see us rise, baby. 6-3. We got a big game in Munich, Germany, 6:30 a.m. against Tampa. Expect another W. Let's go.
Man, Kyler Murray's hilarious. Like, if you went by fantasy stats, you'd be like, yo, he had a pretty good game. But, like, if you were actually watching this game, it was not a lot of meat left off the bone. Like, this guy was not good at all. Like, this game, like, don't let it fool you. And, of course, we can talk about he had 5 sacks as well. But, like, the guy wasn't good at all. And it just felt like I don't know how to evaluate Kyler Murray. Like, I see potential and I see flashes and I like what I see from him. But at the same time, it's the ups and downs. Like, I think he's thrown more for 2 scores just twice in 9 games. And if that ridiculous fumble, that was just a nasty fumble for him to even get. I think he's absorbed 17 sacks in his last 4 games. Like, everything that's going wrong with the Cardinals is just going wrong. Like, this offense always starts off slow. And of course we gotta talk about Geno Smith. I feel like after that pick, he turned it up. After that pick 6, he really just dialed in. And it's crazy, we call that a bad game by Geno standards now. That was by his standards. It's crazy.
240, 2 touchdowns in a pick, but after that pick, it was just
that's considered a bad game for Geno now.
He had 275.
Yeah, and about I think 38 yards on the ground as well.
Yeah, 300 scrimmage yards basically. And
see what I mean? That's a bad game for Geno Smith now. So I got to give credit for the Seahawks team. They're as real as it gets. Same way that I talked about the Jets and how people thought they were frauds and they solidified it. I feel like this is a win that really people of course we're not gonna see and act like the Cardinals are a great team or anything, but this defensive performance is just amazing. And their team
last 4 weeks, our defense I think average we gave up 14.5 points, man. The defense been turning up ever since those 3-4 weeks that we had, the shootouts. In Detroit, but now our defense is playing phenomenally well. So 6-3. This team is just right behind the Vikings right now. In the NFC. You know what I'm saying? So we're right there with y'all, big dogs.
Bro, you guys are in the rearview mirror, bro.
This team's playing great, man.
Let's calm down a little bit. Seahawks are playing great. I've been rocking with them these last couple of weeks, and it's paid off. Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker, he's solidifying himself right now for the offensive rookie of the year, where I think he's definitely I know he's the front runner right now ahead of Chris Olave. Before a couple weeks ago, it was Chris Olave, but right now, the case that he's making, it's getting stronger and stronger by the week. Like
It's
at
crazy.
this point, you can't deny it. The guy is very, very talented, and it's crazy because you have him, you have Damian Pierce and Brees Hall who tore his ACL. Like those rookie running backs next year, that as fantasy players, we're going to be drafting them pretty high.
And it's not even just the running backs in this class as well. The cornerbacks have been great in this class. Tariq Woolen, Sauce, Alontae Taylor, but he got hurt today. Derek
Bryant.
Stingley, Kobe Bryant as well. Like there's Alontae Taylor, he
Young
got hurt,
dudes.
man. It sucks, but like there's a lot of talent in this cornerback draft. So
Man, y'all don't know how happy I'd be if we come out with the defensive rookie of the year and the offensive rookie of the year this year. Whew. And the coach of the year. Hey,
I
just
honestly
keep
don't know
stack 'em up.
who's in the running right now for defensive rookie of the year, but
And for me, I feel like
Sauce.
Sauce is number one. But I know
Sauce, yeah.
Tyreek is top 3 for sure. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
top 3 this year.
Yeah, you're not being that Sauce.
I don't
That's
know.
New York, bro. That's New
We
York
need- we
press,
need-
bro.
Hey, we need a couple pick sixes against Brady next week. I think we take them.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat that New York press, man. But overall, man, this is one hell of a game by Geno Smith. Like if you're able to throw a pick six and still be composed in the pocket and still come back down to earth and just still make plays time and time again, this team, man, this is a very, very special group, bro. I gotta give it to this team, bro. Russell Wilson was a toxic apple on the tree, bro. Like everybody wants to win. Everybody's bought into this system. Everybody's happy. You don't see anybody down on the Seattle Seahawks football team, and it starts from top to the bottom. Pete Carroll. I don't know if I would go as far as to say he's going to be the coach of the year, but of course I do got to give him his respect and his flowers. He can be
Coach of the year. I'm telling
one of
you.
the contending coaches.
We
for that
have one of the
but-
youngest defenses, bro. And I want to speak about Uchenna. I can't even pronounce his name. It's tough. Uchenna Nwosu. I think you got to double check on his sacks. I'm not too sure how much he's had, but pretty sure he's sitting at either 7.5 or 8.5.
Let me fact check that for you.
Please fact check.
Seven
Speaking-
sacks.
Speaking of
Seven
sacks, that guy Matthew Judon's crazy.
Oh, Matthew Judon's a monster, but
that guy's crazy.
like I said, Pete Carroll, he found another guy on the defense with nobody knows where he came from, and now he has 7 sacks for us. So, Pete Carroll, man, he's finding gems for us. You got to pay. I feel like he earns it.
Nah, man, you guys just really bought in ever since Russell Wilson left, and you guys are the kind of, you guys really wanted to stick it out to him to be like, yo, we didn't need you on this team. You know, you were just kind of like the luxury.
100%.
We can honestly do just as good, if not better, without you. And you guys are really proving that this year. In this Cardinals football team, I didn't expect anything for them coming into this game. DeAndre Hopkins, I love DeAndre Hopkins. He's one of the best receivers in this league. I feel like we haven't really talked much about him this year due to the suspension, but he got clamped up. 4 catches, 36 yards,
0
and a
catches
touchdown.
on Tyreek Woolen. 0.
And the funny thing is, like, I only remember one catch he made, and that was a touchdown that he scored. So after that, it was pretty much a no show for him. And Kyler Murray, he's just not good. I really believe like I said, I can't find my controller, but he was too busy playing the new Call of Duty. Like this guy, he shouldn't be a starting quarterback on for this team or anywhere. I honestly don't understand why they paid him this much money. Yeah, see, exactly. He was too busy playing on the sticks.
0-2 since Call of Duty came out, you know what I'm saying? So it's time to put him down.
Like we can blame Cliff Kingsbury, we can in their relationship, but at the end of the day, you're the quarterback, you're the leader of this team. Like every time the pocket gets a little like a little collapsed, he's always just trying to run around and try to make a play. And then at that point, it's easy for the defensive lineman to just look up and see that he's not in the pocket anymore and kind of just stop him in his tracks left or right. But anyways, man, overall, this is a very, very good win for the Seattle Seahawks, sitting at 6-3. They got a tough one. Actually, I wouldn't even go as far as to say it's tough, but it's going to be an interesting matchup in Germany.
I feel like it's going to be a fun game with Tampa
Buccaneers.
Bay.
I don't know if I'll wake up for that game at 6:30, but looking forward to watching the highlights when I wake up at 10. But speaking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they finally get a win at home against the Los Angeles Rams, 16-13. Tom Brady. This is a Tom Brady of old. Even though
No.
Nah,
You
gotta like
Let me
listen.
say
That
something.
last
the final
drive,
yes, that was a vintage Tom
Yeah,
Brady drive.
thank you,
Yes,
that's all I
yes.
need.
Yeah,
all I'm talking
but
about.
like
That's all I
we're not
need.
but we're not gonna sit here and act like that's a game the Buccaneers needed. No, the guy had
No, they
58
needed this
pass,
game.
but he had a 58 passing yards. He had 58 passing attempts. Like, come on, like
Hey,
we're not gonna see.
Mahomes at 68 and he won by 3.
But we're not gonna. Okay, but Mahomes has been playing great all season. What's Tom Brady been playing like?
I'm just saying.
Like, Like we're not gonna see
That's
and act like that's.
problematic.
We're not gonna see and act like yo, the Bucks got what they needed. Yo, they're back. Like no, they're not
No,
back
I
at all.
won't. I
Hey,
mean,
you know
I
my
hear
stance
you. I
on their
hear you.
season right now. Like,
Like-
for the rest of the season, I know their stance, but watching that last drive by Tom Brady just march down the field, I needed that. That was just beautiful.
No, I ain't gonna lie. That Scotty Miller drop was probably the funniest drop. Like that
And
guy
he
let it
went-
hit his
Went to
chest.
him- He went to him a couple times that last drive though. He
Yeah.
messed up with a couple.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Scotty showed up, but I mean, yes, it's a good one for the Bucks in the sense of like this division is trash. So like one win just puts you back on top. Like it's just your turn and my turn, your turn and my turn. So that's really what this division is. The Rams though, we gotta talk about this. This team is terrible. Like someone has to fact check this. Like when was the last time they scored above like 20 something points? Like I feel like these scorelines for them.
Y'all picked them to win the division, man. Y'all
The last time they scored 20 was against the Carolina Panthers, but they've only scored over 20 points
Twice, right?
on 3 occasions this year against the Panthers, against the Atlanta Falcons in week 2, and the
Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals in week 3.
This team's cooked. This team is cooked. Like, and that's what happens when you sell your soul for a Super Bowl. Like, this is the result. Like, it's not a Super Bowl hangover. This is the result. Like, Matthew Stafford is not been looking good. Like the Cooper Cup, I can't lie, that touchdown was amazing. But like you can only Cooper Cup can only take you so far when the rest of your team is not playing great. So I mean, the Rams. Like if I'm them, I start entertaining calls for some of their players because this season is like in my opinion lost for them as well. Because what direction are they headed in? The Seahawks are better than them, and the Niners are healthy and they're back. So,
Hey man, Bobby Wagner wanted to choose up. You know, he picked the Rams. Now, just look where the Rams are at. You know, it's like we're going back to 2013, 2014, where Seattle and the Niners just ran the division. It's looking like that again. But I told you guys about these Rams. They're frauds. Last year I felt like they're fraudulent. This year they're definitely fraudulent. Last year they skate by. I felt like they got lucky. This year it's just shown that they sold everything. They got no kidneys left. They got no knees left. They got no legs left. It's like, what are they gonna do? So no picks in the future. Stafford. People said, no, he won a Super Bowl. He's a top 5 quarterback. He deserves Hall of Fame. He's this and that. Guys, he's not even top 10 at all in the league whatsoever. So Cooper Kupp, my guy. I feel bad for him, but he's cooking up. But ain't much left for the Rams. Sitting at, what's their record? 3-6, 3-5.
They're sitting with a record of 3-5. Yes.
Yeah, cook in a tough division where the Niners are 4-4. They come back against the Chargers, and
you guys are like what 6-3?
6-3. So
6-3.
So
yeah,
it's cooked.
They're cooked. They're
Niners
cooked.
are still in there with the
They lost the season series against the Niners, and I feel like they still got 2 good. They still got 2 games left against Seattle. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be tough.
And with the way that they're playing,
yeah, with the way
it's
we're
just
playing
not-
right now, the way they're playing is gonna be tough. But cook food for them guys.
To speak on the Rams, to piggyback off what you guys are saying, I mean this is who Matthew Stafford is, and I'm willing to put this on the record right now. At the end of the season, they're gonna bring up that elbow injury that they try to keep under wraps, and he's gonna end up getting surgery for it, and then they're gonna use that as an excuse going into the offseason. But I'm hearing rumors that if Aaron Donald decides to call it a career, and who I believe Jalen Ramsey wants to leave, and if Matthew Stafford wants to go, Sean McVay's right out the door with him. So that's a true definition of running from the grind. Like I don't understand why you'd leave, after winning a Super Bowl, even though things get tough. If you're a head coach, it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. Of course, it's going to be days where you're not going to have a lot of winning environments and winning games. So this Rams team, I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs. They're just not a really good team. And this is who Matthew Stafford really is. And I'm very, very familiar with Matthew Stafford because he was on the Detroit Lions for quite some time. And outside of this 1 year where he did very, very good, every other year he's been pretty much either mid or terrible. So I just feel like he's coming back down to earth. And the Rams, they're just not good. And the Buccaneers, I feel like this was like a very, very good win for them, simply because, like I said, I honestly didn't know how they were going to get the job done. And at some point during that game, I was like, man, I don't think they got what it takes to win. But when Scotty Miller dropped that touchdown in the end zone, I was the whole time I was just thinking like Edelman would have made that play. A guy like Danny Amendola would have made that play. Guys that Brady was familiar with in 4 or 5 years ago. But like Scotty Miller, exactly on the next drive, he locked in. He helped Brady march down the field. I think it was like 60 yards in 42 seconds, something like that. And Brady was able to get it done. That's vintage Brady. That's the Brady we've been trying to see this entire season. But before I move on to the next game, Jalen Ramsey did make a very, very good point. Offensively, like they were coming off the field after that 4-and-out stop against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the coaches are telling Jalen Ramsey and the rest of the defensive guys, like, we're going to need you to come out there for one more stop. We're going to stay ready. We're going to need you one more time. Like, and Jalen Ramsey just sitting.
Not even just the coaches, even the Tampa Bay players are saying, y'all gonna come out here again. And it's like, damn, that's kind of disrespectful towards the offense.
Like there was like no reason for Jalen Ramsey and that defensive group to go back out there on the field. Like, you're supposed to just get a first down, clinch the win, and then head home. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen that way. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a much needed win. And I believe this might be the turning point for their season, because now right now they're at the end of the tough 3-game stretch. This upcoming week they'll play the Seattle Seahawks. So at worst they can go 1-2, or at best they can go 2-1 heading into their bye week, which is a much needed bye week for them where they need to reset. So good win for the Buccaneers.
I just want to say this: the offense, though. Tom Brady passing the ball multiple weeks above 50 to 55 times to 58 times, and it don't look like it's moving much. I feel like a lot of it has to do with Brian Leftwich being the coach. It seems to me that their offense it's a bunch of screenplays or receiver screens, or throw it downhill to Mike Evans, and just a bunch of curls, flats, quick passes. I don't know if that's going to work for them in the long run, but we'll see.
I mean, I just feel like sometimes Mike Evans he drops too many
and I'm seeing that
passes.
Too.
It's like a weird trend this year from him. This is very, very unexpected and uncommon with him.
It's like touchdown passes too. It's like big plays that he's dropping that he usually used to make. So
it doesn't make any sense. And I honestly don't know how this offense is going to look moving forward, but I'll give some credit. We'll give a lot of credit to this Rams defense, because every time Jalen Ramsey matches up with your wide receiver one, he's gonna always try to do the best job he can. That's exactly what he did. Mike Evans 5 catches, 40 yards. Chris Godwin only finished with 7 catches and 36 yards. So I wasn't surprised that the Rams' game plan defensively was to take those 2 guys out of the game and try to make other guys beat you. But vintage Brady, man, it was a sight to see. But moving on to the Sunday Night Football matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Tennessee Titans at home 20-17. But I got to give credit to this Titans defense, man. They shocked us. And they really, the spread I think was at minus, I want to say minus, plus it was minus 14 going into this game. And I think Abdi did make a point saying that, it's disrespectful to have the Titans at plus 14 just because of their defense. And I gotta say, man,
what the Big H was tweaking with that. There's no way that they're covering. Like, come on, man. Like, this Titans defense.
That was a Big H on the mic last week.
No, the Titans. First off, we gotta talk about Malik Willis. This team does not trust him at all. Like, they have
zero trust in him, right?
They don't believe in this guy whatsoever. And of course, like, it helps that you have like Derrick Henry in your backfield. But even with Ryan Tannehill, there are times where they trusted Ryan Tannehill to make plays, and he did, obviously. Like, to throw, I think 16 passes, I want to say?
5 for 16.
5 for 16. 80 yards.
I mean, it's not like he was great or anything.
The first play of the game was a 48-yard pass by him.
Yeah, and ever since then, it was just like nothing. Like, yo, Derrick, where you at? That's it. That's literally it. And, of course, Derrick Henry did what he was supposed to, but Mahomes, man, he clutched up when they needed him to. It was kind of, there's times where it's like an up and down game for him, but to me, he's a front runner for MVP for a reason. I mean, this guy just continues to wow us when the time comes for this guy to show up, and he shows up. And I gotta give credit to his Titans defense. Like, just like you said, for them to come into this game and people think that the Chiefs are gonna cover the spread, absolutely not. Like, this defense is legit. And to be honest, what are the record? Like 5-3?
5-4. 5-4 right now.
I mean, for how they started off, like
5-3. 5-3. You're right.
Yeah. For how they started off, that's not a bad record for them to have. And losing to Mahomes, I mean, it happens. I feel like this was a winnable game for them. But Malik Willis, man, it's tough if he's your quarterback, because 16 passes at 5 for 16, crazy.
16 passes for. In the offense with only 80 yards. I feel like the Chiefs, they got away with this win by only winning by 3, compared their passing quarterback had 80 yards compared to the Chiefs, who had 400, what was it, 404? 400 something yards, I'm not too sure. And he passed the ball.
Chiefs?
Yeah.
I know Patrick Mahomes finished with 446 passing yards, but
446 passing yards, 68 pass attempts. The only win by 3. I don't know. I feel like they got another close game. They barely came out this one, but the Titans defense, man, they proved me wrong. I was like, yeah, 14 points, put your money on it, but they came in there and they played very solid. Every time Mahomes got into the end zone, they made stops. They made some key stops, but Mahomes in the end clutched it up, got the game-winning field goal. So good one for the Chiefs, but Titans, they don't have to worry about nothing. 5-3, they're gonna get Tannehill back where he knows the system and the offense more, so they're gonna get their receivers involved more. So it should be good for them, but good one for the Chiefs.
yeah, I mean, the Titans can just write this off simply just based on the fact that they didn't have a quarterback playing. Malik Willis, I do believe he can be the quarterback for the future if they just surround him with some talent. But it's sad when AJ Brown's laughing at you and saying things like no receiver on the Tennessee Titans has a catch, like the guys are not getting open or he's just not finding them. I don't know.
Like
what
one
it is,
guy has
but
turf toe, the other guy has asthma. Like it's tough.
it's just tough to win. Derrick Henry. I was playing against him in fantasy. I really thought he was gonna really make my fantasy team lose this week. 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy just keeps on killing it. But the Chiefs. I was watching this game and I was thinking to myself, like some weeks you get the Chiefs to look like this, where they kind of struggle throughout the game. Usually when you give Mahomes the ball back with 2 minutes left in the game, a couple of timeouts under your belt, he's gonna put your team in position to walk you off on a field goal or a touchdown. But I just feel like last night wasn't really the case. They were kind of struggling to string along some offensive drives that were ending in points. I know that their kicker missed like a 40-yard field goal, but at the same time, throughout the entire game, the Tennessee Titans did one hell of a job at getting pressure to Patrick Mahomes. And Derrick Henry even he acknowledged it. Once he got back to the locker room, he was dabbing up all of his defensive teammates simply because they did one hell of a job, and it wasn't on them. It was on the offense simply because they couldn't string along 2 passes to any receivers. Not even 2, 1 alone. So the Chiefs, you just never really know what to expect with them. Mahomes had one hell of a game. I have to give him credit. But like, it just didn't look good as you're watching it. But then some weeks you go back to when they were playing the Niners before the bye week, when their offense was on fire. Juju Smith-Schuster, a couple of touchdowns. Mecole Hardman, 3 touchdowns. This is just basically showing you how diverse this offense is, and like they can win in so many ways. And sometimes it can be ugly, sometimes it can be good. But overall, Mahomes throwing 68 passes in the game, he definitely iced his shoulder for the rest of the night and leading into the morning, because like that's just not normal. I think that's like the 3rd most in NFL history. But overall, good game by him, good game by the Chiefs. The Tennessee Titans have nothing to worry about. They're going to win their division comfortably if they just bring back Tannehill and do it. They stick with the game plan. Feed Derrick Henry the ball, and everything else is going to go just as smooth. So,
Man, like I'm just imagining this team, like if they had AJ Brown still, like
it still would have been the same, to be honest.
I don't know,
what we've seen in previous years.
Still though, like just because there's games where AJ Brown just like he never really gets enough targets because of course Derrick Henry's there, but like just having the threat of AJ Brown just opens up so much for this team, man. Like because he beats like coverages easily, and so when you have like teams can just game plan against you so easy. And like if you're able to get Ryan Tannehill back, and if you would have still had a wide receiver like AJ Brown, things could be a lot different. But it's tough when one guy has turf toe and the other guy has asthma. Like, what are you supposed to do in that case?
I don't know what you're supposed to do, but just looking back on that trade that the Eagles made for a guy like AJ Brown, I just don't understand why the Titans would make that move. Like you got to understand, like it's not easy getting a wide receiver 1 in this league, even though I'm pretty sure that AJ Brown was demanding some sort of money. At the same time, you just pay him the money and you move forward. You move on from Ryan Tannehill and try to get a different quarterback to help your wide receiver 1 that you pay big money for. But I guess they didn't see it that way. They wanted to go in a different route and draft a rookie receiver like Treylon Burks, who hasn't played in quite some time. But AJ Brown, he got the last laugh because he was laughing at them on Sunday night during the game. So good one for the Chiefs. Moving on to the last game of the Week 9 NFL season. The Baltimore Ravens go into the Superdome in New Orleans and get the win against the Saints, 27-13.
They kind of got off to like a quick start in this game. I felt like if the Saints, this was kind of the same story with like the Bills kind of similar, except the fact that the Saints couldn't capitalize on this because the Ravens kind of went up, and then after that, it was just like kind of a slow game for them second half. And Lamar was picking up yardage with his legs. And of course, the running game started cooking. And I feel like that's what the Ravens are now. Like they're a team that just runs. And then Lamar, of course, gets his passes here and there. And Isaiah Likely, or was it Lively, whatever his last name is. Likely, right? And he got a touchdown in, I believe. Like this team, it finds ways to win with the players that it has, but it really misses Mark Andrews a lot. Like they miss Mark Andrews like crazy, and even Rashad Bateman. Like I'm just not sold on this team offensively. I feel like on the ground that they can get the job done, but it's just Andy Dalton, man. Like if it was any other quarterback, any other starting quarterback, they would have capitalized it. I know we're all laughing because we know why. We're pissed about this game.
Oh man, Andy Dalton, bro.
We know why we're pissed about this game, but Andy Dalton, for him to literally have no Alvin Kamara is your best player on the field, and you don't find a way to get him the ball. He has no pocket awareness. Like, please, Dennis Allen, put Jameis Winston back in. Like this team, like it has the offensive pieces, and of course Chris Olave, shout out to him, man. The guy keeps showing up week in, week out whenever he's healthy, like an amazing rookie wide receiver. But Dennis Allen, man, I mean, shout out to BLS because you remember what he said about Dennis Allen. He said Dennis Allen is garbage, and he wasn't lying. Dennis Allen is not a good head coach, man. I don't believe in him at all. This team could have been way better if they just decided to put in Winston, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I expected the Ravens to come in and just run the ball this game, especially missing Mark Andrews, missing Bateman, So you're missing your two top targets. Lamar didn't have too bad of a day. I think it was 215 total yards and a touchdown. Kenyon Drake had a phenomenal day with 100 yards, 2 tugs. And you got to speak about this defense, man. They held their own. Roquan Smith had a great game. He balled out. Patrick Queen had a great game. The cornerbacks played fantastic. So this defense, the last couple of weeks, they've been holding their own. They haven't been letting the comebacks happen like the first couple of weeks. But this big addition of Roquan Smith, they got a bye week next week. They can get healthy, get him more involved with the playbook. And who knows, man? 6-3 right now. They're getting by games, but Mark Andrews comes back and can be something different.
Yeah, I got to give credit to the Baltimore Ravens this week coming in basically empty-handed. You lose your wide receiver 1 in Bateman for the year, and Andrews, of course, you're just taking the precautionary side of things by just benching him this week and having him get healthy over the bye week. But they came in here and they just did what they were very, very good at, which is running the ball, and that's exactly what they did. Lamar Jackson only had 22 passing attempts and completed 12 of his passes. I'm not even going to bash him for that, simply because the Baltimore Ravens were always in control of this game. And that's just simply because the New Orleans Saints just really, really couldn't capitalize on all the opportunities that Lamar was giving them. Like those 3 and outs, the defense was showing up at some points in the second half, but Andy Dalton couldn't string along 2 passes to anybody. But Chris Olave finished with 6 catches, 71 yards. He had 1 good day, and Alvin Kamara had a really, really quiet day. I honestly don't know why, but 32 receiving yards and 30 rushing yards. Come on, man. The over-under for his rushing yards was 60.5, and it's just the over-under for his receiving yards was 36.5. So I didn't even get to cover both. But the New Orleans Saints, man, they just gotta get healthy offensively. They need a new quarterback. I don't know if Taysom knows the guy. Bring back a guy like Jameis Winston who has the arm talent to air it out. And at this point, I don't know what they're playing for. Right now, they're with a record of 3-6 in a division where the Atlanta Falcons are above them in the NFC. I mean, we're 9 weeks into the season. I don't know if with the record of 3-6 you can make the playoffs. So, Michael Thomas being out for the rest of the year, I think he's no longer going to be a wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. I think they're going to move on from him this offseason. But overall, this is a good one for the Ravens, man. They're going into their bye week. They're going to get healthy. They're leading the division right now over the Cincinnati Bengals. And one thing I want to highlight before we wrap things up, man, that guy Deshaun Jackson, I saw the play where he had the 16-yard catch, but after that he went out of the game with the hamstring injury. So, that just goes to show these guys,
Hilarious.
They just need to get a receiver for Lamar Jackson. At this point, you bring in a 36-year-old Deshaun Jackson, he only gives you one play.
It was Liddy on a podcast 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah, he was this is just ridiculous, man. He goes out with the hamstring injury and he was questionable return. I didn't see it the rest of the night. So overall, Good one for the Ravens. That pretty much wraps up week 9 of the NFL season. All the bye week teams, the Browns, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Giants, the Steelers, and the 49ers will all be back in action for week 10. And that's 6 teams on bye. God damn, that's a lot. But with that being said, any final words, fellas, before we close things out?
Well, football is a trash sport.
See us rise, baby. I don't know what they got to talk about on the bottom, but I'm enjoying football this year.
Yeah, I can't lie, man. I'm really enjoying football to the fullest this year, man. With the Vikings sitting at 7-1. We'll talk about it in the next episode. We'll talk about that whole Josh Allen injury and how that's going to play out for the matchup with the Minnesota Vikings this week. But overall, sitting here at 7-1, I can't complain. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and close things out here. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. We really appreciate your love and support. We greatly appreciate it if you like, commented, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Media Podcast. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, in the beginning of this video, all of our social media handles will be there for you. And if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, if you go to our YouTube page, if you go to our Instagram page at New Media Podcast, you'll be able to navigate yourself to all of our social media handles there. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now late, now that's overkill.